guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jaelah. For those of you who don't know, if you're new here, thanks for stopping by. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss the next video. Today's video is gonna be 10 breastfeeding myths that almost got my ass. It's a lot of misinformation out there. It's a lot of, oh, you know, my grandma this, my grandma that, or my mama or this or that. There's a lot of that going around, okay? So I'm just here to tell you guys everything that I've run into so far. I'm gonna go ahead and start the video off by saying that everybody's breastfeeding journey is different. Every woman and baby is different. Every situation is different. I don't ever want you to take anything that somebody says and run with it. Make sure you always do your own research, because a lot of times people talk about things and you don't know the context of it. So you won't know her specific situation as to why she had to do that with her baby type thing. You get what I'm saying? Okay, cool. So, number one is I thought that I could not breastfeed with inverted flat nipples. So, I had inverted nipples my whole life. I got them pierced in 2014 to bring them out because I tried everything, sis, from a vacuum cleaner. I tried to suck them out. They wouldn't get sucked out. Nothing worked. So I ended up getting my nipples pierced and that helped bring them out. And I thought it would improve my sensitivity, but it didn't. I kept those up all the way until I was 5 months pregnant, and my breasts became swollen and my nipples became swollen and my nipples were getting darker and they were changing and they were trying to eat the piercing, like the ring. So I ended up taking them out because they were so uncomfortable. I already have kind of like semi-large nipples anyway. It was just so uncomfortable. I either needed like an extra long bar or they just had to come out. And I knew they had to come out because I knew I couldn't feed my baby with the rings in there. So I just went ahead and took them out around 5 months of pregnancy. And when I took them out, my nipples never reverted back to their inverted state. And so I was happy about that. But I ran into another problem, which is number 2. You can't breastfeed with nipple piercings, or if you had your nipples pierced, it will affect your breastfeeding journey, or that your baby will get too much milk or something like that, which is not true. My left nipple was pierced incorrectly, and it was pierced twice. And it hasn't affected my breastfeeding journey in a negative way, other than it always leaks. And so I always have to have on a bra, and I always have a nursing pad on. Well, both boobs, but this boob I have to change it like more than a period pad, to be honest with you. It fills up so bad, and then it starts to smell like sour milk, and then my nipples smell sour, and I gotta take a shower, and it's just, you know, it's a pain in the butt. So I have 4 holes, you know, one on each side of my nipples, and the ones on the inside are closed. So these 2 on the outside, they leak out. When my milk comes down, they leak. Milk comes out of those holes also. And I thought that maybe my baby would be getting too much milk, but regardless of what hole it's coming out of, he gets full and he stops whenever he's full regardless. So number 3 is that I absolutely had to pump. So many people told me that I had to pump. I even had a comment one time that was like, oh, make sure you pump a week before the baby gets here so he'll have some milk. The dumbest shit I ever read in my life. And I believed it for a second too, until I was like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. I know that I wanted to pump because my self-doubt creeped in, and I said, what if my baby's not getting enough milk? Like, as soon as my baby started to cry, it was the first thing that went to my mind, like, is he getting enough milk? Is he getting enough milk? So I thought I could pump to make sure that I was producing enough for him. But pumping and exclusively breastfeeding creates an oversupply of milk. It signals your boobs to make more milk. It's like, okay, so imagine that your pump is a whole nother baby, and now you have 2 babies to feed instead of 1, so your body's really producing a lot more milk than it actually needs for 1 baby, in which it is so annoying because my boobs fill up more often than he's hungry. So a lot of times I have to pump to relieve the pressure because I'll get like lumps up here, you know, and then my boobs will feel like bricks, and that's just really, really super uncomfortable. There's really no real reason to pump if you're not gonna be away from your baby. If it's not painful for you and your baby doesn't have like a lip tie or a tongue tie or anything, there's no like temporary thing, you know, your nipples aren't cracked, bleeding, you do not have to pump. Feed your baby, latch your baby. There's a supply and a demand, and too much demand creates an oversupply. So I don't need to pump because I don't plan on being away from my baby, and baby has my boob, so why does my baby need a bottle? Number 4 is that I needed a huge freezer full of milk. This was probably one of the most discouraging things that I would come across because it created a lot of anxiety for me, okay? I would get on Facebook and I'll see, oh, Pinterest. I would get on Pinterest and see these freezer full of milk, and even moms on YouTube, some moms exclusively breastfeed and they pump. And I don't have to feed my freezer, I just have to feed my baby. I probably have like 12 bags of milk frozen in the freezer just off those times where I would relieve pressure. So I got a couple ounces in the freezer, but it's nothing like extensive. It's no like, I don't have a whole freezer full of milk. I didn't need to buy another freezer full of, don't like put that out your mind, because you don't have to do that. Like if you can do that, that's great, but don't make that your goal, because number one, why do you need all that milk? And number two, you're just gonna make things harder on yourself and it's just unnecessary. If you produce that much milk, you go, girl. Donate it, sell it, do whatever you gotta do with it. But for new moms, I just don't feel like it's a realistic thing to see. Like it's unrealistic when you're first starting out. If you're seasoned and this isn't your first baby and you breastfed before and you create this much milk all the time, then go for it, But for new moms who've never done this before, it was a huge source of anxiety for me. And it took me a while to realize that I didn't need a freezer full of milk. Number 5 is that breastfeeding hurt. Oh my gosh, I would get so many comments. I even asked, my family, why did you stop breastfeeding, or why didn't you breastfeed? And it's like, oh, it hurts so bad. But that's why each woman is so different, because breastfeeding is not painful to me. It was never painful to me. The first latch was not painful to me. Like, I don't know if me and Jackson were just both naturals, and I don't have sensitive nipples, so honestly, he could probably chew on them and I wouldn't even feel anything, but it did not hurt me. And even if it does hurt, it doesn't hurt for a long time. It may be uncomfortable sometimes, but I know that a lot of moms get through that pain. I heard around 6 weeks that it gets better, but you know what? Don't take it from me, because it wasn't painful for me ever. The most uncomfortable part of breastfeeding is probably the letdown. Like when my milk comes down, that process, it wasn't painful at first, but it's always been kind of like uncomfortable. And then now it's starting to sting. Like it's so strong, it's starting to like sting a little bit. Like it's weird, I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't hurt. And give it a try before you just say, oh, I'm not doing that because I heard it hurts. Just try. Number 6 is that I was supposed to stop breastfeeding at 1 year old, because after 1, breast milk doesn't have any nutritional value. And that got me for a while. I'm gonna be honest, I was like, okay. And then something said, Jaelah, where does the nutrition go? And I was like, that's a good question, Jaelah. I was like, yeah, girl, think about that. I was like, don't go nowhere. Do I got a different boob? Do I got a different body? Do I got a different baby? No, it doesn't go anywhere. 1 year is the goal, but if Jackson wants to keep going until he's 3, then so be it. I don't plan on weaning until my baby wants to stop. So that's just that. Like, that is such a huge myth. Like, you have to stop at 1 and switch your baby to whole milk because it doesn't have any nutritional value. That's so stupid, because why would cow milk be better for your baby than your milk? That doesn't make sense to me. Number 7 was that low supply was extremely common, and I needed to be worried about not making enough milk. This goes back to the whole pumping situation, the whole everybody has their own situation type deal. Low supply, I don't feel like is that common, because I feel like a lot of moms and a lot of people, there's not a lot of education around breastfeeding, and there's a lot of like, oh, this works for me, oh, that worked for me type thing. So there's a lot of like, so I don't think that low supply is extremely common as people think. I know that some people will be like, oh, well, my milk dried up on me. Well, what happened to it? I left my baby at my mom's house for 2 days and I didn't pump. Well, that's why. You didn't have your low supply didn't just come out of nowhere. That's why. Or some women decided they want to supplement with formula, and while the baby's drinking formula, they want to sleep. But while you're sleeping, you're telling your boobs, I don't need, my baby's not hungry right now. Stop making that milk. You get what I'm saying? So low supply really isn't that common. A lot of women just, that self-doubt creeps in, and it's real easy to think I'm not making enough milk, especially when your baby first comes out and their stomachs aren't this small and they need this much milk every 2 hours, and all I could imagine was just this big old 8-ounce bottle in a baby's mouth, like I see on TV, like I seen my brothers and sisters, like I seen anybody. This big old bottle just getting gulped down. And here I am trying to express milk or trying to pump out milk, and I'm getting 2, 3, 4 drops, and it's like, oh my gosh, like I don't have any milk, like my supply is low. I need to eat oatmeal, and I need to do this, and I need to take all this other crazy stuff because my body doesn't know how to do it. Obviously not true. Just know that every time that the baby's eating, you need to be pumping. You gotta move the milk to make the milk, okay? That's it right there. Supply, demand, move milk, make move. Some women supplement with formula. Some women bottle feed, you know, sometimes. So you just gotta know that you're either pumping every 2 hours, or you're feeding every 2 hours, or your supply is gonna drop. That's it. Well, except for at nighttime, because we go about 6 hours without eating, maybe 5 hours without eating at night. So yeah. Number 8 is that breastfeeding was frowned upon in public. That is such a myth. Where I'm from, ain't nobody say nothing to me. I don't know if it's because I just look like I'm the one to be messed with, but I haven't got any negative comments. And when I say I breastfeed my baby in public all the time, no cover, titty, nipple out, he unlatching, doing whatever he gotta do. I do that all the time in Target, in the commissary, in the grocery store, in the bank, in a restaurant, anywhere. I breastfeed my baby anywhere he's hungry, and I don't care who's around either. Not my mama, not my daddy, not my granddaddy, not your granddaddy, not nobody. I don't care. I just feed my baby when he's hungry, and I don't use a cover either. Yeah, so actually I've got a lot of positive reactions from breastfeeding in public. You know, oh, you go girl, I love to see that, or oh, look at the baby, like, oh, you know, stuff like that. I don't get any negative reactions. I do get a lot of stares though. Oh my gosh, people stare like crazy. Number 9 is that you can't take medication or drink while nursing or while breastfeeding your baby. Not true. A lot of women have C-sections, and a cesarean section is major abdominal surgery, okay? So after you have major surgery, you think they're giving you a Tylenol after you have major surgery? No, that's something very hard to go through, and that shit's painful, okay? These women are given heavy drugs, okay? Do you think they out here not feeding their babies? Because no, women that get C-sections still breastfeed. You can take medications. There's different classes of medications, you know. I'm not gonna get into it. I want you to look it up, but just know that you can have an ibuprofen, okay? You can take a medicine. You can have it. Jackson's pediatrician actually cleared me to take Adderall, although I do not. And drinking, you can drink. You can have a glass of wine. You can have a drink. If you can drive, you can nurse, okay? And number 10 is the amount you pump is the amount that you make, and your baby needs 8 ounces every time they eat. Like I said, movies and seeing our siblings and just seeing a formula bottle, just, you know, you see this large amount of milk and you think that you have to match that or you have to compete with that, and that's not necessarily true. You can't, I can't tell how many ounces my baby's eating because I can't see my milk, you know. I just hear him gulping, or I hear him swallowing it. And what you pump is not necessarily what you make, because nobody can get that milk out better than your baby, especially when you first have your baby, and the colostrum milk, you can't get that out. I mean, you can get it out with a pump, but it's really, really difficult to get it out with a pump. Really difficult to get it out with a pump. But baby knows exactly what he's doing, and he knows how to get that milk out of there. So nothing is as effective as a latch, okay? No pump. Hand expressing is good, pumps are good, but nothing is as effective as your baby. So what you pump is not what you make. Okay. If you guys have heard any crazy breastfeeding advice, what's the crazy thing that somebody told you about breastfeeding and you just was like, okay, that's ridiculous? Share those comments down below. I will see you guys in my next video. Peace out. Bye-bye.